I typed in that Isley's favorite book was Nipples, the Dino Guide. And it was supposed to be, I think his name was Nibbles.
It's Nibbles.
Nibbles. But I for sure typed Nipples, the Dino Guide.
You are listening to the Calm the Storm, the Whimsy podcast.
Hey everybody, we are back today to talk to you a little more about our COVID experiences, and we're going to just jump right in.
So what other challenges did you face or did we face when everything shut down? So like work specifically comes to mind. How did COVID affect your work or your husband's work or family's work?
Well, Hillary and I have a photography business, and it halted.
Yeah.
And we actually couldn't even be around people to take pictures, so we couldn't do anything until we decided, hey, let's do portraits, so that we would travel around and take pictures of families on their porches, and that's probably one of my favorite shoots that we've ever done.
It was actually really fun.
It was a lot of fun.
There were a lot of cute pictures, too, though.
Yeah. So that was good. So we just went around different houses, different families, taking pictures.
Yeah, it was like a donation-only thing, because still at that point in time, we weren't allowed to, like, charge money or,
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I forget about those things, that, like, you weren't allowed to charge for your business.
Yeah, but everybody was super creative, so they were, like, some of them dressed up, but a lot of people were in, like, robes and coffee mugs, and their hair was crazy, and they made signs, and they were pretty creative during that time.
That was fun.
Yeah. Took pictures with toilet paper and Clorox wipes and all that kind of stuff. Well, what about your husband's or you, Crystal?
So I was still working for a virtual assistant company at the time, and it was small business, so like I really couldn't do anything because the small businesses weren't having a lot of business, and so I actually ended that during COVID, and then I started my own thing later on. And then Aaron, he was working for a company in Akron, and when shutdowns happened, he came home, and so we set up a home office for him in our kitchen. At our bar, we have like this island bar, and so he had like his computer screen there, and we set him up there to work, and he would work there with his AirPods
For a long time.
Yeah, for a long time. It was a lot.
Yeah. What about you, Kelly, with your
So
hubs?
my husband's a pastor, and churches shut down, so he was home, and then things didn't quite work out with the church we were at, and we were left with no job. So it was pretty amazing to see like our friends and family just rally around us to help us get through, because it wasn't like he could get another job right away. But some good things came out of it. So we started actually a home church, and so he has like a network of home churches right now. We have 3 home churches, which is a different type of church, but we really, really enjoy it. So that quite affected our lives quite a bit there.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. It's crazy to think about. People weren't able to work, but we were still being provided an income through different avenues, like if you had a job.
Yes.
But to lose your job during that time, that had to be really scary because you can't go out and find something new.
Right. So.
And when you're self-employed, like we were,
Yeah.
we didn't really get an income still coming in.
No.
So you both lost your jobs for a little
Pretty
while.
much.
It's crazy.
But God provided for us. And looking back, like, it's good how things turned out in the end. So.
Yeah. So my husband, he was one of the only people who was willing to travel during that time. So when things were shut down, it wasn't long before it kind of opened back up for him to start traveling. But he did work from home a lot when he was here. So how was it working at home with your spouse around all the time when you weren't used to that? It was an adjustment for us.
It was a huge adjustment. But now, it's really funny because now he is home a lot because we've adjusted our lives to him being home and working from home a lot, and I wouldn't take that back.
Yeah.
So like that's a huge change in our lives, and I really like it a lot. But now he does have a job that he travels, so.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it, and I still like it, but, like, when you're working right behind me and I want to watch my TV shows that you make fun of, that's the only problem I have.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be home and make fun of my shows that I want to watch during the day when you're usually gone.
Right. That's what I ended up having to watch a lot of my shows on my computer with my AirPods because my kids were home, everybody was around, and I had to watch I wanted to watch my shows, so.
That's smart. You've always been used to your husband being around.
He usually works from home a lot, like being a pastor, but it was kind of cool because he didn't have a job anymore. So he actually got outside and started like cutting four-wheeler paths like all around our property. So because we were stuck and couldn't go anywhere and we had no obligations, he literally just cut trees down, and we have this path that the kids ride around on, and it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. So he was home, but not in the house. You're like, go outside and get something done. What about with school? We talked about that a little bit, but we really didn't touch on the fact that we were literally teaching our children when we weren't expecting to. Now you're both homeschool moms, I know.
It's not the same.
It's so different.
But back then, we were not prepared to be teaching our children.
And I felt like we were still teaching a curriculum that wasn't ours. So we were trying to keep up with whatever the school had prepared for our
Which
kids.
they did the best that they could.
They did.
Yeah.
And they did a great job, and packets were coming left and right, and we had a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
But it was not the way and method in which I would have, in what I do now to homeschool, for sure.
Yeah, same. Well, I didn't ever want to homeschool. And when that came home, I told my sister she was crazy because she homeschooled for years. And she's like, you don't understand. That is not the same. I'm like, well, if it's anything like this,
this
it's
is
terrible.
what we got.
So I didn't have much of a plan. I loved having them here, though, but trying to do all the work that we had to do was way overwhelming for 3 kids. And I had a child that was trying to potty train at the time. That was fun.
Yeah.
So... yeah, it was special.
I just remember a lot of tears. So my middle child didn't ever want to do any of his work, and he was in first grade at the time, and so it was just a lot of tears for him and a lot of like bickering back and forth between me and him trying to get everything done. Third grader kind of just did his thing. He's really independent with his schoolwork, and then I feel like my youngest just got kind of tossed to the wind with school stuff. Like she wasn't in school, so it was oh, well, we'll
go potty train yourself.
Figure it out.
Right.
We got
on the floor.
we got some real school work to do here.
I forget how little they were because I had a preschooler, a kindergartner, a first grader, and a third grader. And like trying to do all those different grade levels, that was really overwhelming. I will never forget, we had to fill out these like Google slide things, and we could go in and see each other's comments. Do you remember this, Kelly?
Yes.
What?
And you sent a screenshot to me, I think Crystal, a couple of our other friends, and the teacher. And you're like, what are you teaching over in that house? Because and it was me that typed it in, which makes it even worse. I typed in that Isley's favorite book was Nipples, the Dino Guide. And it was supposed to be, I think his name was Nibbles.
It's Nibbles.
Nibbles. But I for sure typed Nipples, the Dino Guide. And the teacher just said, well, I wondered if anyone was going to notice that. And of course it was Kelly. She screenshotted it to send it to everybody. I was like, whoops, I'm so sorry. I can't even blame that on my kid. It was all me. But I used to try to call off work. So I would text my husband and say, I think I'm going to take a PTO day. He's like, too bad, you're already here and the kids need to go to school. I'm like, but I don't want to come in. But one of my favorite things, and this isn't to make fun of anybody, but a little bit it is watching teachers who were not used to having to use technology try to do Zoom. I remember seeing people foreheads because they would get so close to the computer. And the kids are like, wait, we can't see what they're trying to teach us because their head was like so close to the screen. It was the most entertaining thing.
Well, and remember they were supposed to do their like biographical tea.
Oh, yeah.
And so that got canceled for 3rd grade, and they had to do it over Zoom and like
They did?
or take a
don't remember
picture.
that.
We had to do something. They had we had
took
to
pictures,
video
I think,
them or
and
something,
Yeah.
like going over their poster board and so forth, because I have a video of it in my phone. Maybe I was the only one who did that.
I don't think
know.
we did that.
I
We
don't
just read
remember that
Nipples the
assignment.
Dino Guide.
I'm like, we need to put all this work into this biographical tea. And
We never used it. I
Never
don't remember
used it.
using it.
I
Do
don't
we have
remember
different classes?
No, they were all in the same class.
Well, you get a gold star because I didn't do that.
Did you
probably
do the
why ours
poster?
failed
We
that
did
year.
the poster.
Just kidding.
Oh, stop it.
That's really why she homeschools them.
Just for the record, they went back after
Yeah.
for a year and then pulled them out
For a week.
for a week. Well, they went back for a whole year because Ike went to kindergarten in a mask for an entire year.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
And we struggled with the mask because, like, one of them would break out in sores all over their mouth. And then when Lenny was like, as long as they don't bring them back the next year, we're good.
And they did.
Parents' choice. Okay, we went for a week. And he's like, they're like mandatory masks. He's like, we're
Yes.
done.
It was quick.
I
Yeah.
cried.
It was quick. We had like a spike in COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, since we're talking about school, how did it affect your kids? Like, do you see the effects of it still? I feel like there's still, like, generational effects you can see. Like, the kids that were at home when they were, like, 3 or 4.
Yes.
And during the COVID years. Like, I can see, like, the kindergarten teachers struggling with them when they came back to school.
So I think personally, with both a first grader and a preschooler during COVID, first grader definitely did not get all of the reading he needed and so forth. And on top of it, his own personality of just not wanting to do that kind of spiraled for him a little bit. With the reading, he struggled a lot. Now being in 5th grade, we are finally back, like, okay, we're good, we're doing fine. But I feel like he had that opportunity to grasp what he was doing, and then he came home and fought with me. And so then we couldn't move forward.
Yeah.
And so I feel like for him, it was definitely a reading thing. I feel like behavior, they just didn't know how to interact when they went back.
Yeah.
Like, and I still feel like there's awkwardness.
Yeah. Generational wasn't the right word, just to be clear.
No, we knew what you meant.
I just want to make sure
wow.
everybody knows that I know
It's
that
a
that wasn't the right
long
word.
time period.
I mean, it felt like it was a long time period.
I just meant the kids that were home during that time, just to be clear, everyone. I know that was not
Well,
very
and
clear.
I mean, I can speak to being in a classroom as an aide post-COVID and seeing the kids who come in. So I would have been an aide the year that they would have went back to school with masks, I think. And so kindergartners really not knowing how to communicate, how to read lips, because there's no lips to read. They're still wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And so, like, there is a lot, I think, across the board with children that
Yeah.
have
And even
effects.
mental health, like the anxiety piece of it.
Sure.
So one of my kids, I remember in the pickup line, like struggling to get out of the car and go into school because of having to wear a mask, or like worrying about standing too close to somebody, or so there was just like a lot of that pressure and fear.
Well, and their desks were like on a specific spot in a room, and you couldn't move the desk. And so like and they've been home for a whole year, half year. And so to go back into that world after being home I think that just
in a
gave,
lunchroom.
Like,
Like, you couldn't even sit by anybody.
You couldn't. And there was like 4 people to a table.
So much isolation for the kiddos.
Yeah, and I'll say as a parent, like, it was frustrating at times. And I remember complaining about a lot of things. But looking back, too, and running a business during all of that, like, I wouldn't have wanted to be in their position either. Like, having to make those decisions and figure out what was best and how to comply with things and also not tick everybody off. And I can't even imagine.
Big decisions to have to make. You're talking about an entire school, making sure that children are safe and okay, and still not even knowing like what is really going on, how long is this going to last, so forth.
Yeah. So did anybody ever get it for sure that you know of, close to you or in your family? We never knew that we had COVID, if we ever did. I'll say that.
I had COVID later. It wasn't in the initial first year.
Yeah.
And again, it was because I was working in a kindergarten classroom.
Yeah.
But Aaron's mom and dad both got it pretty severely. And both of my parents got it. My sister and her husband got it.
Yeah.
All of them pretty severe.
Yeah.
So my husband got it, and it lasted so long. And they're like, once you get past day, whatever it was, you'll be good. And it just went downhill. And I'm like, he would stay in his room and, you know, he wouldn't see any of us because that's when everybody's like, you got to have isolation. You can't see anybody.
Did he have his own room? His room?
He stayed in... What? What did I say?
He stayed in his room.
Well,
does he have his own room?
We have a room, but he stayed in our room. And
did he isolate himself
in Eliza's room?
Oh, okay.
And I didn't really see him. I was like giving him things to try to help it. Like every night I had my alarm clock set. Okay, you need to take this every 4 hours. So I felt like I had a newborn again. I'm like, here you go.
Were you nursing that newborn?
You were nursing a baby still.
Oh my
gosh.
So it just kept getting worse and worse. And then he like couldn't sleep because he was like, his body ached, his head hurt. And then one night at like 10 o'clock, he's like, I'm leaving. I'm going to go drive. I'm like, you are not. You are not leaving this house to go drive. What if you get in a wreck and I don't know where you are? Like,
After curfew?
Probably. He was just going stir crazy. Yeah. So I think it was like right around Memorial Day because like we couldn't go to the parade and the kids were all sad and he looked terrible. And Hillary decided, because my kids love the Memorial Day parade, she came over, and they were actually having the parade that year. Mm-hmm. She came over and did their own parade, and boy, was it special. It was so cute. They did, like, outfits, and they had these flags, and they'd run around.
Through candy.
So he came out for that, but she was like, oh, my gosh.
I remember looking at him sitting on the porch, like, trying to be as into it as he could be, but I've never seen him look like that. Like, he looked so sick. I was really concerned.
So she went and got a pulse ox from her grandpa, and it was okay. Yeah. But then, like, a few days later, it just kept getting worse. And he's like, for him, like a man to say, I'm going to take myself to the hospital. Like, I couldn't, like, leave my kids there to take him, and they wouldn't let me in anyway.
Right. You could only go one at a time. It was
terrifying. Like, what if this is the last time I see him for a while? Like, I don't know what's going to happen. So he goes to the emergency room, and I don't hear anything forever. And I'm like, I keep trying to call his phone, nothing. So I called the emergency room because at that point I'm like, I don't know, is he on the side of the road? Did he make it to the emergency room? The lady answered, and my name must have came up. And she's like, I'm like, is Lenny here? She goes, oh, yes, he's here. I thought, she like knew who I was when I answered. And she's like, I'll send you back like I'll have him call you or whatever. But he did make it, and they ended up sending him home that night. But all the stories that you hear of, like, the horrific stories of people being in the hospital forever and they can't see their loved ones, it was, like, so much panic in my heart, like, him going there, not knowing, like, how long he was going to be there. But he was able to come home that day. So
That's true. I never really thought about, like,
there was so many things. Like, people
scary.
would go to the hospital and then it would be days because you just couldn't see them.
Yeah.
And that's when they didn't really know how to help it. So, like, some would just not come back. It was awful. Scary.
Yeah. So we did go through, like, the stir crazy phases and all of that. Like, did you have any coping skills that you used to make it through that stuff?
Coping skills. Skills. Drinking.
To wine with wine.
Yep.
To wine with wine, and we
Wine
can drink
with
at noon. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. So I read a lot of books. And during COVID, you couldn't really go to the library. So I remember going to the library right before the library shut down. We got a ton of books. And then I could order books online and do like a curbside pickup. So I just ordered a ton of books for myself and I just kept reading. So I read a lot during COVID, during isolation. We, as a family, made our own movie theater in the basement. So we got a big screen. And we put up a projector because you couldn't go to the movie theater.
That's where that came from.
So that's where that came from.
Cool.
So we really liked going to the movie, and you couldn't go to the movie anymore. So we created our own, and, you know, we would have popcorn and so forth and just have movie times. And I think that's when Disney started releasing movies through Disney Plus. So that was fun, and things like that. But
So my coping mechanism was to paint as many things as I could.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I love to paint. And so we painted our bedroom and I think our bathroom. And then we painted our first floor bathroom. I just needed to paint everything. Make it look better.
Lenny's probably like, oh, can I please get a job?
My in-laws
don't want to paint anymore.
We were working on the project. That came out weird. When we would be working on a project, my in-laws would always come and take the kids for a day or two, which was really nice. So Lenny's like, okay, another project. I'm just kidding.
Didn't you paint your cupboards even during that, or was that
That was before.
Oh,
yeah.
So you just do love to paint.
Wait, was it then?
I don't know.
No, I don't remember anymore.
Well, I used to walk, and I don't like to be alone, but during that time, I'm like, get me out of here. And I would walk, and I remember listening to, like, worship music, and I would look up at the sky and look at the trees, and I would honestly just keep reminding myself, like, God is bigger than all of this, God is stronger than all of this, and I don't need to be afraid, because I struggled so much with, like, fear and worry and panic and anxiety. And so, like, looking at creation, like, was always just really good for me during that time. So
I remember it was really good for you to just get out of the house, too. Like, just have a moment to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
We did a lot of neighborhood walks, too.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
We also built a Gaga pit and put a basketball hoop in. So
that's where the playground in your yard came from.
That's where the playground came from. Yeah, we bought rollerblades. Like, all the kids got rollerblades. Everybody rode their bikes a lot. Letty learned how to ride a bike. Letty, not Lenny.
Lenny might have also learned to ride a bike during COVID. Oh, goodness. I feel like you might need to share real quick. Let's just interject a little.
About the Letty and Lenny
you just said
thing.
that, yes.
Okay. So, every time I text Hillary, Kelly, anyone, even my mom, and I text about Letty, Lettie,
Your daughter.
my daughter, autocorrect on my phone brings up Lenny, Lennie.
Which is the way my
Kelly's,
husband spells his name.
right? So, my text will say something like this. I just put Lenny to bed.
And I'm like, does Kelly know about this?
I got Lenny out of the bathtub.
So good. Oh, so that's why.
I put Lenny in the car seat. It happens. It still happens to this day autocorrect on my iPhone does not like Letty.
So just to be clear,
Yes.
Letty
Letty.
learned
L-E.
to ride the bike.
T-T-I-E. Learned to ride the bike. I think Lenny, Lennie, learned to ride a bike a long time ago.
All right, let's just talk about habits that maybe we created during COVID. And I would just like to say, let's talk about eating habits, Crystal. Kelly may not be included in this conversation. I'm pretty sure most people can relate to comfort eating.
COVID-20.
Yes,
You know, it's
gaining
like
weight.
freshman 15. It was definitely COVID-20.
Yeah. How about you, Kelly? Did you gain 20 pounds? Nope, let's answer for her. What happened?
Oh, Kelly came out looking like a
model. Like, let's just get as skinny as we've ever been in our whole life. Probably skinnier than she was in high school during COVID.
COVID. We saw her and we were like,
What happened to you?
who are you? Here we are, two big hippos over here, and we got a model as a friend.
So skinny. So
You were supposed to join us. What happened?
Keto happened.
Oh,
I lost.
Oh, man.
The only person that
So
came out
much
of
weight.
COVID looking freaking hot.
Right? We would see these pictures and she would be like, ooh. And we're like, what in the world?
I will never forget. We went out to dinner with somebody not long after that. Well, everything had opened up, so it was a while. She was looking hot, though, and I was looking COVID-20-ish. And we sit down, and the person looks at Kelly and goes, oh, motherhood does you well. And I'm like, okay. We just won't even comment on me.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy.
Motherhood does you well.
Wow.
We'll let you talk. Anything you want to say?
I don't know why I had all this motivation during COVID
So weird.
to start keto and stick to it to a T.
You sure
but I did.
Yeah.
It's because you're competitive.
Who was I competing against? I didn't see
COVID.
anybody.
She didn't have
She was like,
competition.
COVID. Maybe that was why. No competition.
Maybe I definitely am competitive.
You needed to have like a competition inside of you.
Yeah.
And so you just went with it.
Whatever.
Something
She
to-
needs to tell herself.
Yeah.
All
Hey,
I know
if I
is
could just have that competition.
I have lots to compete against right now. Woo! All right. So let's just touch on, we just have a few more things we could probably talk about. Fun memories with your family. So even though there was a lot of hard things, I feel like a lot of good came out of that time as well, especially with our family. I remember seeing somebody say, like, it forced us to stop. It forced us to slow down. It forced family dinners. It forced, you couldn't be gone at work. Like, so
Right,
what?
No sports.
Yeah. What did you create with your family during that time?
Well, it was just nice to be together every single evening.
Yeah.
And all day long. But it was just good to have, like, for sure, have, like, dinners every night together. Because when sports start, it's, like, crazy. You're eating at weird hours. It's, like, 4 o'clock or 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
But my favorite things that we did, for Cinco de Mayo, we went to Uncle Tito's, and the parking lot was packed. And they had this, like, mariachi band, and everybody was, like, eating outside their car. It was such a fun experience. Because they couldn't have anybody in the restaurant, so they opened up like a drive
Like
up,
a food truck type thing
But
or
everybody was
whatever.
parked in the car, like the whole parking lot was full. It was great. And the other thing that we did was we decided to have dates. So like I would with the boys. Nope.
Yeah.
Me with the
That's
girls.
when we saw you with the hot black dress
Yeah.
on. I'm like, ooh, I want to go on a date with you.
Yeah. Where'd she even buy that dress right now?
It was probably in
that
my
come
closet
from?
and I never fit into it. So Lenny and the girls, Lenny took the girls on a date and we couldn't really go anywhere. So they would leave and like drive in the car and then they would come back and the boys and I had planned a whole meal. We made the whole meal together. And then we had like a fancy, like a table set up with 3 chairs and like fancy glasses and nice plates. And we even had lights on like a dance floor and we served them their food. So like we would ask them what they wanted and the boys like drew a menu and we'd get them their food. And then we would dance, they would dance together at the end of the night. So then like a week later, they did it for me and the boys. So they boys got me flowers, and it was super cute. So
Aw.
we had a really fun time. And then Lenny and the girls cooked our food and dessert and everything. And
Yeah. Did you eat any of it, or?
they did good. He cooked me steak, and I had keto ice cream. And
It must have. Ooh, keto ice cream.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't do me any good.
So the quarantine dates were my favorite memory, and we have videos of it that I just look back on and cherish. That was like a really good time.
Yeah.
And they all still talk about it.
Yeah.
I remember, so we have a large deck now, but at the time we had a very small deck on the back of our house. And we all 5 would go out on this deck just to get sun and air, because like you didn't even know at the time, like in the beginning, if you could be like outside. I said that earlier, but like, so we were outside, we were trying to get sun. And so I just remember a lot of the time we just spent a lot of time together, and more so than we would have in the past. Like they weren't at school and Aaron wasn't at work.
Yeah.
And so just the time that we spent together, we went on a lot of family walks around our neighborhood. We did a lot of family dinners, which was really nice. And we still do family dinners because it definitely changed the dynamics of going out to eat and things like that. But yeah, I remember a specific hike that we went on. And it was like, in the beginning, it was probably like April, and it was just the kids and I, and we went to Firestone Metro Park. And during that hike, a storm came, and it was a bad storm, and so we had to find shelter to get like in somewhere, because it was like a tornado. I don't think it was a tornado warning, but there was definitely like severe weather storm coming, and so we had to hide in the bathroom. It was like a single bathroom, but it was all like brick block wall. And so we were in there for like 45 minutes. And I kept like looking at my phone, and it was like over top of us, and it was, my kids are crying, everything is going, and I'm trying to get a hold of Aaron because I don't know, he actually went to work, I think for a couple days because he was doing real estate stuff. But like, it was crazy because I was like, my kids are crying. I cannot get out of this bathroom, and I don't know what to do. But I just remember tornadoes, and then we had like a snowstorm a couple days later. So.
Oh yeah, because my play set got blown over, and it ended up on the news, and then covered in snow.
Yeah.
It was
What?
so weird. Yeah.
Wait, what house?
That was when I was on Sesame Street.
Oh, that's right.
Our whole place that got blown over during
It
that.
was like a crazy.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like beautiful weather, storm, snow.
Snowstorm, yeah.
It was like, what is happening?
Yeah, those
The world
pictures
is
just
ending.
came up in my memories. Fill up your bathtub.
You might need it.
So, have you guys ever done a progressive dinner?
I think with you.
Yeah, probably in youth group. Yeah, with church. Usually
Yeah.
you'd
I
go
have
from like
before,
one
but
person's
yeah.
house to the other, and you'd have like
Salad somewhere,
Yeah.
and then, okay.
the entree.
Yeah.
Well, we did that at home, except for we just did different rooms of our house during COVID. So we had like an appetizer outside, and then we had like a fancy dinner at the table with candles, and then we went somewhere else for dessert. So like our kids really enjoyed that. And then we did a lot of parades for people just because we loved them.
Yep. Showing up with candy and music.
Yeah, we wanted to cheer people up, so we did a lot of that. And we also put together Candyland in our driveway. So you didn't come to that, Crystal, but did you?
No, but why didn't
you did,
I?
right, Kelly?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I might have been in Florida.
Maybe.
Maybe not. I don't
So
know.
we drew like the board on our driveway, and we had like all the props, and
How did you have those props?
I think somebody offered them to me from church stuff.
Of course they did.
To use for like a birthday party.
Oh.
But then I just used it for fun. And people
Yeah.
did like human-sized Candyland. People loved it. It was fun. So we did a lot of stuff like that. But one of my most embarrassing and favorite memories, we were on a very busy road, and my kids were sitting out by the sign to our allotment with signs, and they were having people like wave and honk at them. And I just thought, I was outside watching it all happen. It was the cutest thing. All these people are honking. They're waving American flags. And later on, my husband comes up to me and he goes, did you see the sign they were holding? And I said, no. And he showed it to me and it said, Happy Coronavirus. That's the sign that they were holding on the side of the road, waving the flag and having people honk. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they didn't know what they were writing.
Happy
Coronavirus. And
They
I'm
were
like,
celebrating.
okay, guys, that's wonderful. But that was just funny because
How did they spell that? Like, how did they know how to spell that?
I don't know, probably dewining.
Well, yeah, because back then it wasn't just COVID. It was coronavirus.
Yes. Yep. The
19.
coronavirus. Yep. It was crazy. But I feel like my kids sometimes say, I miss quarantine. Like,
I know.
loved
Actually, I
it.
thought about that the other day.
Yeah.
Life was just slow
Yeah.
and easy. There's nothing that you had to do.
Yeah.
Just kind of
No obligations.
no obligations. And then, like, when they opened up, you just started doing everything again. And so
Yeah.
then your life's just, like, blew
Back
up
to
again.
normal.
I'm not going to lie. I don't want to go back. But,
I wouldn't want to go back, but I do find myself being home way more.
yeah. And my kids genuinely, like, look back at it when I would say that was an anxious time.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, that was an amazing time because
Yep.
they had our, like, full attention.
True.
And even like holidays, things kept getting canceled and it was hard and terrible. But every time Thanksgiving comes around, my kids are like, can we do our own Thanksgiving again? They like just being with our own family unit and like making Thanksgiving dinner. And I say, no, thank you, because
Yeah.
I don't like making turkey by myself.
Well, and we remodeled a lot. So we remodeled our kitchen during COVID. We built our deck during COVID. So we did a lot during COVID
Yeah.
to our house, which we made it where we didn't want to leave.
Yeah. So
'cause
COVID was
it
really
super
good for
fun.
your neighborhood
It was.
because everybody comes and hangs out at your house.
Yes, it's like a playground.
All right, before we wrap up, there are a few fun stories we still have to share about our friends and the fun things that we did. I want to talk about field day because that was one
Yeah.
of the things that was really hard on our kids when school got shut down. So we decided to create our own field day, and all of the dads were assigned stations and they ran different things, and we did it in the backyard of one of the teachers' houses.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Yeah. And looking back, like, they were so stinking little. Like, I forget how little they were.
I mean, when I look back and I see all of them, they were so little.
Yeah.
So little.
They got awards and they placed and all of that. It was
so
I was
really
just
fun.
watching those videos the other day.
Yeah. And that's why they missed quarantine, because,
because we had
were
fun
super
things.
intentional. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't you have them over to your house during COVID? All of the children. And you kept them, and then you
We
had
did the plays.
a play at the end.
But that was like when things were getting back to normal.
Yeah, that wasn't during COVID. But
Yeah.
But-
it was that summer. I
but
think,
still a lot of
Yeah.
people weren't like getting together. Yeah.
But it was crazy. She took all of our kids, all of our friend group kids.
She
There were
likes
like
to do that.
20 kids
That's a lot of kids. That was nuts.
and a lot of boys.
My husband wasn't working home during that time, or he would have been like, get out of my house.
Right? Well, you were still living on Sesame Street.
Well, how about the time that we took our kids to the church parking lot to ride bikes?
That was an
Oh.
awesome time.
Yeah, we weren't supposed to be there, were we?
Yeah, we thought we weren't supposed to be there. We
But
probably
I think we
weren't.
probably
Probably
were
weren't.
okay. I mean, we were 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our kids are riding bikes. Moms are standing on the side of the parking lot watching them
Just
ride
chatting,
bikes.
having a good old time.
And then a cop patrols through the parking lot. And where'd Kelly go? She's gone.
I kind of crouched down beside my van and
You
then
ditched us so fast.
then tried to move around the van so the cop couldn't see me. I'm like, peace out, take my kids. I'm getting out of here.
Left
Can't get arrested.
Left her kids and their bikes just out there.
She's
in the
hiding.
Open. She's
I'm not
gone.
showing up on the news.
And I'm just standing there with one of our other friends, and I'm like, where did everybody go? I guess we're the ones who are going to get in trouble now. But this cop just drives by.
Yeah, we're
didn't
all
stop.
like panicking. Kelly's
Like,
hiding,
laying
rolling
flat
under
on
the
the
car.
ground.
And I'm like, okay, I got this handled. Hence the calm.
Yeah.
I was like, we're not going to get
I'm
arrested.
panicked. I'm like, there's a cop.
There's
we
no
probably aren't
way.
supposed to be here, and he's going to kick us all out. We're going to end up on the news. I got to get out.
Like, there's no way they're taking 9 moms from a parking lot with all these kids here.
That's true.
Then she tried to tell us later, I just wanted to make sure there was someone to bail you out.
Well, yeah, I mean,
have.
that's what I was really doing. Just making sure that somebody could pay their bond.
So I have one last story, and then we can wrap it up for the evening. But, so this was for Hillary's husband's birthday, and we couldn't do, like, a tasting of any kind. And so we went
I
to this
forgot about
hotel. And
That's when I should have been hiding behind the van. Just kidding.
and she took us to the Devil's Den.
Oh.
No, actually. So she tried to get Aaron to get into bed with Lenny.
Okay,
We're
wait.
just cutting it
No,
out.
I think we should tell this now, but I feel like you have to start over.
We do. We do.
Oh, my
Okay.
gosh.
So,
That just...
Lenny, not Letty.
Oh, no.
But there was a Russian
Naked
woman.
ladies there. Oh, she talked to them.
Okay, we're done.
Yeah,
That's a wrap.
yeah. But how do we wrap it up? What do I say? Thanks for listening.
Well, honestly, we should talk about how COVID was... COVID was a shock to all of us.
A shit show? Is that what you said?
Shock. So COVID was a shock to all of us, and it like turned our lives upside down.
Yeah.
And there were some good things that came out of it, like extra time with family, more intentional time. But there was a lot of sad things that came out of it too for
Yeah.
loved ones that got COVID and didn't make it, or.
Yeah.
So this is just to talk about how the things we remember from those times, and our hearts go out to all the people that lost anybody from COVID or have like lasting effects from COVID, because it's not good.
Yeah. If you have any experiences that you want to share with us, just follow us on Facebook and leave us a comment. Thank you for listening to the Calm, the Storm, the Whimsy podcast. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Facebook, and Instagram. Stay tuned for our next episode. You're listening to the Calm,
The Storm.
And the Whimsy podcast. If I don't say it the way I say it, I can't say it.
podcast.
Like that. What was
I
that?
was trying to not say things like, are we supposed to say the storm?
She just flexed her muscles when she did that.